Alright, so we just saw the Super Mario Brothers movie, and by we, I mean me and my twin brother.
Hello, everyone.
Alright, so we just wanted to give our thoughts on it. I think we should probably start off by talking a little bit about our history with Mario. I do consider myself a Mario fan, although I'm a relatively new Mario fan. Even though Mario has been around even long before we were born, I didn't have much exposure to Mario. I didn't play many games growing up. In fact, the very first Mario game that I played and beat was Super Mario 3D Land. That came out in 2011, but I beat it for the first time in 2021, when it was 10 years old. And shortly after that, I beat Super Mario Odyssey for the first time. And just today, I also beat the main game of Super Mario 3D World. So yeah, I don't have much experience with the mainline platformer Mario games, but I've played, I think my first video game exposure to Mario in general was Mario Kart Wii. The same goes for you.
So yeah, my personal history with Mario, as far as games go, the very, very first game that I ever played, I think, was New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, but I never, actually played through a game on that. And the first game that I have ever actually beaten was Mario Odyssey back in 2018, I think. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a big Mario fan, but I definitely do like and respect the character. In fact, back in 2018, I went to Salt Lake Gaming Con, and I met Charles Martinet, and he signed my wedding suit Mario Amiibo figure, and that was pretty cool.
So yeah, so relatively recently, I've grown to have a bigger appreciation for the Mario series. I adore the characters now, and I look forward to playing more Mario games soon.
Yeah, and also I kind of want to also add in that I've basically dressed up as Mario for the last 3 Halloweens.
And yet you've barely played any games.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the movie.
Yes, movie.
I think we should say up front that this is not a movie that you watch for the story. I mean, that's pretty much the same for Mario games. You don't really play them for the story. You play them for the gameplay. And the same goes for this movie, so the story isn't anything to write home about.
Yeah, it's pretty simple at its core.
This movie is for Mario fans. It's a movie for people who love these characters and want to see them animated.
But also, it's not so hardcore that only fans will understand it, but it's blue ocean enough that anybody can watch it, whether or not you are a fan of Mario or not.
But yeah, in general, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I was smiling the whole time. I absolutely enjoyed all of the little Easter eggs that they all put in, from the music into little other little details that they put in the background, including other little references to other popular NES games from back in the day.
Yeah, I'm glad that we got a Pauline cameo.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And Charles Martinet makes a voice appearance right at the very beginning, and also near the very end.
Yeah, right after the climax. He's just kind of just a random
guy dressed up in red overalls.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Mario at home character. Honestly, I still think Charles Martinet would have been great as Mario's actual voice instead of Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I'd like to point out real quick that I feel like one little misconception about Mario's voice in general is that it's always high pitched, but that's not necessarily the case. If you listen to other Mario voice recordings and other stuff, Charles Martinet's Mario voice can get a little bit deep at times, here we go, it's a me, Mario, Yeah, it probably wouldn't have been as irritating as some people may believe it to be, but yeah, we'll just move on from that.
Yeah, but as far as Chris Pratt goes, he's an he did an okay job, I would say.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible. I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny how they did kind of like a bit of a joke at the beginning of the movie with Mario and Luigi doing their Italian accents that most people will know them for, but then, then they are talking in their normal Charlie Day and Chris Pratt voices, and they're like, are the accents a bit much, And obviously, nodding to the fact that, nobody would have been able to tolerate the voices for that long.
We definitely could not have withstood Chris Pratt and Charlie Day doing high-pitched Italian stereotype voices.
So yeah, the basic premise of the story, where should we go from there?
Do we even really need to summarize the story, though?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you've watched any of the trailers, you basically know that it's like Bowser is trying to take over the Mushroom Kingdom, and Mario and Luigi get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom and get separated, and Mario needs to go rescue Luigi from Bowser. Yeah, it's pretty basic at its core. But overall, I think it's executed decently well.
I will admit that I don't have the best media literacy, so I don't know if I have much more to say. So, if you want to look at this movie from a critical standpoint, it's not a cinematic masterpiece. Like, objectively, it's probably like a 5 out of 10 movie. Just average. But, of course, for a Mario fan, I would probably give it at least a 7.
I don't know, I think I'd go as far as maybe giving it a 10 out of 10. I mean, I think it, adapts to the world of Mario pretty darn well. I mean, I feel like this is the first true adaptation of a video game in movie form. I haven't really seen very many other video game adaptations, and I don't really understand the worlds of a lot of these other video games worlds, but as far as I can tell, it's definitely more 100% accurate compared to everything else. I wish the Sonic the Hedgehog movies were a lot more like this movie, taking place within the Sonic the Hedgehog universe, fully animated with, cartoon animals.
One thing I guess we could talk about is probably some of the plot holes that the movie may have, and some unanswered questions that it brings up, such as Princess Peach's backstory. She apparently fell into the Mushroom Kingdom when she was a baby and then was raised by the Toads.
Yeah.
Yet, she was apparently the only human in the Mushroom Kingdom until Mario came along, and yet she knew she was a human. So how does she know what humans are?
I don't know. What other problems did you notice?
I don't know if it's because I have bad media literacy, but the Rainbow Road scene. So the Mushroom Kingdom folks were on their way to ambush Bowser's army, but then Bowser's army got word of their ambush, and then they did an ambush of their own. So then, if they had not been defeated in that scene, then where would they have gone from there? Because they were defeated, they would have gone back. They went back to the Mushroom Kingdom. But if they hadn't been defeated on Rainbow Road, where would they have gone from there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess I'll have to go back and watch the movie again and see if there's anything that I missed. But I think that they were actually planning on taking the Kong army back to the Mushroom Kingdom and wait for Bowser there.
Oh yeah, I'm forgetting that. For some reason, I kind of forgot that they made it to Rainbow Road from the Jungle Kingdom, not the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There's my bad media literacy for you.
Yeah, one other little issue that I'm sure a lot of other people will have with this movie is the inclusion of these 80s rock songs, and I'm not entirely opposed to the idea because, I'm a big sucker for 80s music, but in the case of a Mario movie, it's a little bit out of place, especially I kind of found Take On Me at the Jungle Kingdom scene to be kind of awkward.
Yeah, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense since the Mario series started in the 80s.
Yeah, I just think they probably could have chosen couple of other songs that would have been a little bit more fitting within that, within the movie.
Yeah, but at least they had the DK rap when Donkey Kong made his appearance.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And the little Mario Brothers cartoon theme at the beginning, that's pretty solid. And also, again, a big thing on I wanted to point out on the music real quick. I learned that the score was composed by Brian Tyler, who did the score for Transformers Prime back in 2010, and that kind of blew my mind because Transformers Prime is one of my all-time favorite cartoon shows ever, and that's all the more reason for me to personally like the movie more.
So yeah, I'd say at best it was like a 7 out of 10 for me. At worst, it's a 5.
So here's a quick thing I'd like to briefly talk about with this movie here, and considering how long it's been since the release of Super Mario Odyssey in 2017, how likely do you think it is that they're actually making a Mario game more or less based on this movie?
Well, as far as a Mario game based on the movie specifically goes, I don't know. I kind of doubt it, but I feel like we are due for a mainline platformer Mario game soon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know it's not super likely, but I think it would be kind of interesting if we had a game that's kind of somewhat based on this movie, but who knows?
Time will tell. I bet you that if and when CinemaSins does an episode on this movie, that during one of their end audio replacement scenes, that they'll take the moment where Peach gets the ice flower and replace it with audio from Frozen. Probably, the Let It Go chorus.
Yeah. So yeah, as far as a potential sequel.
Yes, that's another thing. Like Baby Peach. Her backstory, that totally sets things up for a potential sequel, and they definitely teased it with the end credit scene.
Yeah, minor spoiler alert here in 3, 2, 1. Right after the credits, we get a post-credits scene, and it's in this underground pipe center or whatever, and pans over to the wall, and there's a little Yoshi egg that begins to hatch.
There is a brief scene earlier in the movie where we see Yoshis, but of course this egg that we see start to hatch will be the Yoshi.
Yeah, so I guess as far as movies going forward, I imagine that the next movie will probably be, well, either another Super Mario Brothers 2 movie, or it could be a movie that's Yoshi, a Yoshi's Island movie.
Yeah, most likely.
But I also wanted to briefly mention because of the amount of other little smaller Nintendo references within the movie, that gives me a little bit of hope that we'll maybe see other Nintendo movies in the future, maybe a Star Fox movie or hopefully Zelda. I don't know if I saw any Zelda references particularly, unless you count Mario's dad. And I say that because the way that Mario's dad looks in the movie here, I imagine is somewhat kind of based off of Talon from Ocarina of Time, who also himself is kind of somewhat based on Mario.
I see.
The bald head and the little sideburn mustache. I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Definitely looking forward to seeing it again when I have the time, and
I'll definitely be picking up the Blu-ray.
Yep. Oh boy, I'm just looking forward to the future of potential Nintendo films.
Well, I guess that's it.
Go see the movie. It's pretty good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.